There is a small bottle that used to sit quietly on the shelves of old kitchen cupboards and medicine cabinets. Maybe you remember it. The thick golden liquid, the strange smell, the way your mother or grandmother would bring it out whenever someone had a tummy ache or dry skin. That bottle was castor oil. Today, many of us are hearing about castor oil all over again, but through a different lens. Social media is filled with claims that castor oil can detox your body, help with constipation, get rid of dark circles under your eyes, relieve joint or period pain, and even grow your hair back. But how much of this is true? What is real? And what is just old folklore wrapped in new packaging? In this video, we are going to take a thoughtful journey, not just through what castor oil is said to do, but through what science can actually tell us. We will look at the research behind the claims. We will talk about how castor oil works, what it might help with, and where you should be careful. And most of all, we will honor the wisdom that older generations passed down, even if science is still catching up. Whether you are here because you are curious, cautious, or just feeling nostalgic, welcome. Let's explore the real healing story of castor oil together. What is castor oil and why has it been used for generations? Castor oil is one of those old-fashioned remedies that many of us have heard of, maybe even used, but never really understood. It comes from the seeds of the castor plant, a leafy green plant with a deep history. You will find this plant growing in warm regions like Africa, India, South America, and even parts of Asia. Once the seeds are harvested, the oil is extracted through a process called cold pressing, which means no heat or chemicals are used, just pressure. What you get is a thick, golden, almost sticky oil with a scent that is hard to forget. But what makes castor oil so unique? The secret lies in a special natural compound called ricinoleic acid. This is a rare fatty acid, and it makes up about 90% of the oil itself. Unlike most plant oils, which are mainly made of other kinds of fats, ricinoleic acid gives castor oil its anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and deeply moisturizing properties. In other words, it helps reduce swelling, fights off certain microbes, and keeps skin soft and hydrated. That is why castor oil has been passed down through generations as a go-to solution for a wide range of health issues. Long before we had modern medicine or drugstores on every corner, families relied on castor oil. It was used to soothe dry skin, relieve joint stiffness, ease constipation, and even as a part of beauty routines. Maybe you remember a loved one warming the bottle slightly, pouring a small amount onto a cloth, and pressing it against the stomach to help with cramps. Maybe you were given a spoonful as a child, not always the most pleasant memory, but done with love and care. This is the kind of remedy that brings back memories, not just of the oil itself, but of the people who used it, and the faith they had in simple, natural healing. And now, in today's world filled with endless health trends and quick fix solutions, castor oil is being talked about once again. The question is, were our elders onto something? Could this thick, sticky oil really have benefits for dry eyes, hair growth, pain relief, and even detox? Let us begin by looking at one of the most talked about uses today: castor oil for the eyes. Coming up next, we will explore what science says about using castor oil for dryness, dark circles, and puffiness around the eyes, and whether it is safe to try. 1. Can castor oil help with dry eyes and dark circles? What science tells us. One of the most common questions today is whether castor oil can help with dry eyes, puffiness, or those dark circles that seem to settle in as we get older. You may have seen videos online, often with younger people gently dabbing castor oil around their eyes, claiming it hydrates the skin and even helps reduce discoloration. But is there any truth behind these claims? Let's take a closer look. First, it is important to understand what our eyes truly need. Your eyes have a very delicate structure, and your tears are not just made of water. Tears actually have layers, including an oily layer that helps protect the eye surface and prevents moisture from evaporating too quickly. When that oily layer breaks down, your eyes can feel dry, irritated, or even gritty. This condition is known as dry eye syndrome, and it affects millions of older adults. Now here is where castor oil comes in. Some studies have shown that in very small, specially prepared doses, castor oil can help support that protective tear layer. In fact, some eye drops on the market today include a tiny amount of castor oil in them, mixed with other ingredients to relieve dry eyes. But here's the catch. Those eye drops are carefully formulated, sterile, and designed specifically for the eyes. Using pure castor oil directly in your eyes is not safe. The kind you buy off the shelf is not sterile, and it may contain particles or bacteria that could irritate or even infect the sensitive tissue in your eyes. So what about using it around the eyes? On the eyelids or under the eyes? That is a different story. A small clinical trial found that gently applying cold-pressed castor oil around the eyelids helped reduce symptoms like dryness, redness, and even crusting caused by inflamed eyelids, a condition called blepharitis. Another small study using a cream that included castor oil showed a modest improvement in under-eye darkness, also called infraorbital hyperpigmentation. Now, these studies were small and the results were modest, but they suggest that castor oil might have some benefit when used safely and correctly around the eyes, not in them, around them. If you are curious to try this yourself, here are a few tips to do it safely. Use cold-pressed, hexane-free castor oil with no added fragrance, preservatives, or dyes. Test a small amount on your skin first to make sure you are not sensitive to it. Apply it gently around the eye area using a clean cotton swab, and be careful not to get any into your actual eye. Less is more. A drop or two is enough. While castor oil is not a miracle cure for dark circles or dry eyes, it may offer gentle hydration and a sense of comfort. And sometimes that small act of self-care is powerful all on its own. Coming up next, we will explore one of the oldest traditional uses for castor oil, easing stomach pain and menstrual cramps using castor oil packs. What does science say about that? Stay with me. 2. Castor oil packs for abdominal pain and menstrual cramps, comfort or cure. If you were raised in a family that leaned on home remedies, you may remember castor oil packs. These were simple cloth compresses soaked in warm castor oil, gently placed over the stomach or lower abdomen, often followed by a warm towel or heating pad. For many women, especially in earlier generations, this was a trusted way to ease menstrual cramps, bloating, or digestive discomfort. But today, people of all ages are asking, does it really work? And what does science have to say? First, let's talk about what a castor oil pack is. It's not something you drink or take internally. Instead, you take a soft cloth, usually made of flannel or cotton, and soak it in cold-pressed castor oil. You place that cloth directly on your skin, usually on your lower belly. Then, you cover it with a dry towel or wrap and apply gentle heat using a hot water bottle or heating pad. Most people leave the pack on for 30 to 60 minutes while resting quietly. This practice comes from both folk traditions and Ayurvedic medicine, and it has been passed down through generations in various cultures. The warmth helps the oil penetrate into the skin, and many believe it boosts circulation, reduces inflammation, and helps ease internal discomfort. Now let's look at the science. To date, There are no large human studies proving that castor oil packs relieve menstrual cramps or abdominal pain. However, castor oil does contain compounds, especially ricinoleic acid, that have been shown in animal studies to reduce inflammation and swelling. Some researchers suggest that topical application may allow those compounds to work locally, especially when combined with heat and massage. It's also possible that the pack itself, the warmth, the stillness, the pause, creates space for relaxation. And for people experiencing cramping or stress-related stomach pain, that relaxation may be just as important as any chemical effect. The good news is that castor oil packs appear to be safe for most people. You should always test a small patch of skin first to make sure you do not have a sensitivity or allergic reaction. And never use the pack over broken skin or directly on any surgical site or open wound. If you are pregnant, it is best to avoid castor oil entirely unless directed by a healthcare professional. So, do castor oil packs cure anything? Maybe not. But do they comfort? Quite possibly. And sometimes, especially in our later years, comfort is a very meaningful kind of medicine. Next, we'll explore one of the few areas where castor oil has strong medical backing: its use as a natural laxative. If you or someone you love struggles with constipation, you'll want to stay with me for what's coming next. 3. Castor oil for constipation, a natural remedy with real science behind it. Of all the traditional uses for castor oil, helping with constipation is perhaps the one that is most supported by modern science. In fact, this is one of the few natural remedies that has actually received approval from the United States Food and Drug Administration. That's right, castor oil is an FDA-approved stimulant laxative. For older adults, constipation is a common but often frustrating part of life. It can be caused by many things: certain medications, lack of movement, dehydration, or just the natural slowing of digestion that comes with age. And while fiber and hydration are always the first steps, sometimes the body needs a little extra help. So how does castor oil work? When you take castor oil by mouth, your body breaks it down in the small intestine using an enzyme called lipase. This enzyme transforms the oil into ricinoleic acid, the same compound we mentioned earlier for its anti-inflammatory benefits. In the gut, ricinoleic acid stimulates the intestinal walls, encouraging the muscles to contract and move stool through more efficiently. It also helps retain water in the intestines, making the stool softer and easier to pass. The result? A natural but fairly strong laxative effect. In fact, researchers have used castor oil as part of bowel preparation for procedures like colon capsule endoscopy. In one review of 6 clinical studies involving nearly 500 people, castor oil was found to be more effective than some standard preparations in emptying the bowels before the exam. However, there are a few important cautions. First, castor oil can be very strong. A small adult dose is usually just 1 to 2 teaspoons. Taking more can lead to cramping, nausea, or dehydration. For that reason, it is not recommended for regular or long-term use. Second, if you are pregnant, you should avoid castor oil altogether. It has been known to stimulate contractions and may lead to early labor. That same muscle-stimulating effect that helps the bowels move can also affect the uterus, so it is best to stay cautious. Lastly, some people experience dizziness or a drop in blood pressure after taking castor oil, especially if they are dehydrated. That's why it is so important to speak with your doctor before trying it, especially if you take other medications or have ongoing health conditions. If used occasionally and carefully, castor oil can be an effective natural remedy, especially when other methods have not worked. But always start with the basics first. Drink plenty of water, eat fiber-rich foods like oats and leafy greens, and stay as active as your body allows. Sometimes even a gentle belly massage following the direction of the colon can help. And that does not require any medication at all. Coming up next, we'll talk about one of the most debated claims of all. Can castor oil detox the body or help with weight loss? We'll explore what detox really means and whether this old remedy has any role in that process. 4. Castor oil for detox and weight loss, separating myth from meaning. In recent years, detox has become a popular word in the world of natural health. You see it everywhere. Detox teas, detox smoothies, even detox patches and foot soaks. And right alongside them, you might see castor oil being promoted as a way to cleanse the liver or flush toxins from the body. Some even suggest applying castor oil packs over the liver or taking it orally to lose weight quickly. But here's the truth. Most of what we hear about detoxing with castor oil or with any single food, tea, or oil is not supported by solid science. Let's start with the idea of detoxing the liver. Your liver is already a powerful detox organ. In fact, it is your body's natural filter, processing everything from medications to alcohol to environmental chemicals. It works 24 hours a day without needing any special products to activate it. The best way to support your liver is not through drastic cleanses or trendy oils, but through simple, consistent habits. That means staying well hydrated, getting enough sleep, eating fiber-rich foods, and especially including cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and kale, which have been shown to help the liver process toxins more efficiently. That said, why do people say castor oil helps with detox? Part of the answer lies in its laxative effect. When taken internally, castor oil can cause a bowel movement, often within 6 to 12 hours. That can make people feel lighter, less bloated, and temporarily cleaned out. But make no mistake, this is not the same as removing toxins from your bloodstream or healing your liver. It's simply moving waste through your intestines more quickly. Some traditions also recommend placing a warm castor oil pack over the liver area, just under the rib cage on the right side, with the idea that this helps stimulate the liver and promote detox. While it is a calming ritual that may support relaxation and blood flow, there is no clear evidence that it has any effect on liver function itself. Still, if the practice brings peace or comfort and you use it safely, there is little harm in continuing it. Now let's talk about weight loss. There is no reliable research showing that castor oil helps burn fat or reduce body weight in a healthy, sustainable way. Yes, if you take castor oil and experience a strong laxative effect, you may lose a pound or two, but that weight is mostly water and it comes back as soon as you eat or rehydrate. In fact, using castor oil too often as a laxative can be dangerous. It can lead to dehydration, loss of important minerals, and dependence, meaning your bowels stop working properly without it. That is why doctors rarely recommend stimulant laxatives like castor oil unless truly necessary. So what can we say with confidence? Castor oil does not detox the liver and does not cause healthy weight loss. But if you enjoy using a castor oil pack as a way to rest, reset, or reconnect with your body, there may be value in that. Emotional peace and physical self-care go hand in hand, especially as we age. If your goal is true detoxification, here are a few practical evidence-based steps. Drink enough water. Hydration helps your kidneys flush waste naturally. Eat fiber. Fiber binds to waste in the gut and helps eliminate it through your stool. Get good sleep. During deep sleep, your brain clears out its own waste through a process called glymphatic drainage. Move your body. Light daily activity supports circulation, lymph flow, and digestion. Include liver-loving foods, dark leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, turmeric, and garlic all support liver health. Limit alcohol, processed foods, and added sugars. One other thing worth mentioning is sweating. Some early research has shown that sweating, especially through sauna use, may help remove small amounts of certain toxins like heavy metals. This is still an emerging field, but it is another natural way your body supports itself. Just remember, saunas are not always safe for everyone, especially those with heart conditions. So speak with your doctor before trying anything new. To wrap up this section, it's important to say this. Your body is wise. It knows how to care for itself, especially when given the basics: nourishment, rest, movement, and love. Castor oil can play a small supportive role, but it is not a cure and it is not a shortcut to health. Up next, we'll explore one final use that often appears in beauty tips and natural health videos. Castor oil for hair growth. Is it just another myth, or could there be something more to it? Let's take a closer look. 5. Castor oil for hair and scalp. Hope, hype, or honest help. Hair is not just about appearance. It is personal. It connects us to who we are and how we feel about ourselves. For many people, especially as we get older, changes in hair can bring up feelings we did not expect. Maybe your hair has become thinner, or your scalp feels dry and itchy. Maybe it is not about vanity, but about comfort, identity, and the small ways we take care of ourselves each day. That is why so many people turn to natural solutions, and one of the most talked about options today is castor oil. You may have seen videos or articles claiming that castor oil can bring back hair growth, strengthen weak strands, and restore shine. It sounds hopeful, especially when you are looking for something gentle. But what does the science really say? First, let us talk about what castor oil can do. Castor oil is rich in a fatty acid called ricinoleic acid, which has anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial properties. This makes it helpful for scalp health. If your scalp is dry, flaky, or irritated, applying a small amount of cold-pressed castor oil can provide relief. It may soothe redness, reduce itching, and add moisture to the skin. Because castor oil is very thick, it can also seal in moisture, which may help protect the hair you already have from breakage and dryness. This is especially useful for older adults whose hair has become more fragile over time. When used sparingly and correctly, it can make hair feel softer and more nourished. But here's the honest truth. There is no strong scientific evidence that castor oil makes hair grow back. Despite its popularity online, no well-designed human studies have shown that castor oil increases hair density or regrows lost hair. One study in rabbits showed some benefits, but animal results do not always translate to people. If hair growth is your main concern, there are other natural oils with more promise, like rosemary oil or pumpkin seed oil, both of which have shown some effectiveness in early studies. Over-the-counter treatments, like minoxidil, often sold under brand names, have more proven results for certain types of hair loss. But these are medical treatments, and you should always speak with a doctor before trying them. That said, castor oil still has a place. If your goal is not regrowth, but comfort, hydration, and gentle care, it can be a helpful addition to your routine. Many people use it once or twice a week as a scalp massage oil, mixing it with lighter oils like almond or jojoba oil. The massage itself, combined with warmth and stillness, may be just as healing as the oil. Here are a few tips if you'd like to try it. Choose cold-pressed, hexane-free castor oil. Test a small patch of skin before using to check for irritation. Use only a few drops. A little goes a long way. Leave it on for 30 minutes to an hour, then shampoo thoroughly. Don't expect dramatic changes overnight. Focus on how it feels, not just how it looks. As we age, caring for our hair becomes less about reversing time and more about being gentle with ourselves. Castor oil may not be a miracle for hair growth, but it can offer comfort, nourishment, and a sense of ritual. And sometimes, That is more than enough. Next, we'll bring everything together and close with a thoughtful look at what castor oil truly offers and how to safely and meaningfully include it in your life if you choose to. The wisdom of castor oil, a gentle tradition for a modern life. As we come to the end of this journey through castor oil, its history, its uses, and what science has to say, I hope you are walking away not just with information, but with a sense of calm and clarity. Because castor oil is not just a trend, it is a reminder. It reminds us of the time when care was simple. When your grandmother would heat up a cloth and lay it gently over your stomach. When a teaspoon of something bitter came with a soft voice saying, "This will help you feel better." When healing wasn't just about the body, it was about love, attention, and presence. Yes, castor oil has its limitations. Science does not support every claim. It may not detox your liver or grow your hair back or fix every ache and pain. But what it offers is something else, something just as valuable. It offers ritual, the act of pausing, of tending to yourself, of remembering that your well-being matters. It offers comfort, a way to soothe dry skin, calm a sensitive scalp, ease tension in the belly, and it offers connection to your past, to your culture, to the quiet wisdom passed down through generations. That is why castor oil still has a place in our lives today. Not because it is a miracle cure, but because it gives us something we often forget to give ourselves: gentle care. If you are thinking about using castor oil in your own routine, here are a few final tips to keep in mind. Always choose cold-pressed, hexane-free castor oil with no added chemicals or fragrances. Start small, whether applying it around the eyes, massaging it into the scalp, or using a castor oil pack. Less is often more. Listen to your body. If something feels irritating, stop. Your comfort comes first. And if you are ever unsure, especially if you have medical conditions or take medications, speak with your doctor before trying anything new. At this point in life, many of us are looking not just for healing, but for meaning, for things that feel familiar, honest, and true. Castor oil may not change everything, but it can be part of a rhythm that grounds you, a small act of care that says, "I am still worth the time." So whether you use it or not, let this video be a reminder. Your body is wise. Your traditions matter, and you deserve to feel good, gently, naturally, and with full respect for who you are. Thank you for joining me today. I would love to hear from you. Have you used castor oil in your life? Was it something your family believed in? Have you found comfort in it, or maybe discovered your own way of using it? Please share your story in the comments below. This space is for you, your memories, your voice, your insight.